Well, we're down in 5 points now, and we're at the Porter Beer Hall?
Beer Bar.
Beer Bar, a great place to be with owner and chef Nick Rutherford. And he incorporates the amazing beer selection here into some recipes. And this is a really famous place down in 5 Points in that it's been a Jamaican grill, a mellow mushroom, a breakfast place. It is a place with heritage. So, Nick, tell us a little bit about your approach to cooking with beer and what we have here, and tell us about your place.
Yeah, we wanted to do something a little bit different here in Little 5 Points, and that being said, we wanted to offer not the normal beer, we wanted to offer craft beer, because anybody around this neighborhood can go anywhere and get a PBR or something for $2. We wanted to do something much different, and we definitely have a different approach with our food as well. Everything is made from scratch, and the food is meant to be paired with beer. It's kind of our focus, and our menu also changes seasonally. So,
do we have any particular brew in the bratwurst or in the Reuben corned beef preparation?
In the Reuben, we do not.
But I noticed, like on the menu, there's pairing suggestions on everything.
Yes, we do a beer pairing with everything that we do on the menu. In the brats, we poach them in usually a dark beer. I believe this time around we use milk stout from Left Hand Brewing Company.
Yeah.
And we do anything with beer, be it making ice cream.
Is that on the current menu?
It's on the current menu. It's coming with brownie right now.
Oh, hell yeah. So, what brew is in that brownie?
Currently, because it was on draft while we were making it, it was a left-hand milk stout. So,
superb.
We always use a beer or a stout, dark beer that is low in alcohol.
Something with sweetness.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
How long have you and Molly been here?
We've been here now for 2.5 years. Going strong. I mean,
in the business model, it's kind of risky with such a deep inventory of exotic beers.
Yes,
but,
it is a lot to keep up.
And you apparently have the turnover you need to offer such a wide product line.
Absolutely, we do. We go through our beer relatively quickly. Of course, there are some of those rare beers like Cantillon and the Lambics and stuff like that that typically last a little bit longer, that aren't as high as moving. But for the most part, anything that's American craft beer, we go through it very, very quickly. So
fantastic. Well, let's talk to our bar manager, Justin.
Soul hop variant, so you can just truly taste what that hop is all about.
He's an artist. He's painting with hops.
Yeah, I mean,
his medium is hops.
It's a lot better than my normal art, which is usually crooked stick figures. And
well, speaking of art, I want to get a shot of your ink at the end of the interview here.
I'm a walking work in
close-up.
progress.
Some gorgeous work here,
Thank
but explain to me the latest trend in European release as far as disposable kegs, because technically you probably have a tap number in mind as far as what's available on draft with these smaller things,
right.
But it would probably be in excess of what Wayside Cummings is bragging, 230 taps all getting stale, whatnot. But so tell me the size and the concept of disposable kegs.
Well, these essentially break down into being 30-liter size kegs, so they basically hold 30 liters of beer. The interesting thing about these kegs, they're coming in round plastic balls, and if you want to give me a second, I actually do have one.
Yeah, we'll do a pan.
Exposed from its shell in the back. But yeah, I guess you take a round plastic ball, and they actually have the beer kind of shrunk down in aluminum foil within there. So in our time and day now, where everything is very green movement, and we're kind of thinking towards the future as far as waste is concerned, this is a big step. The one downside for these, or the downside for us, I think it's a great concept, but is because they are round.
Yeah.
Balancing is kind of a tough predicament, and this takeover for us to have so many of that size to fit in all of our keg boxes.
Bowling ball rack.
Yeah, I mean, we were doing some weird positioning where you'd have like two, and then you'd be balancing one on another, and you're just kind of hoping that everything stays upright.
Right.
you know, more and more people are starting to do this. The European brewers. You've actually had Terrapin, which is out of Athens. They're toying with a kind of a plastic disposable keg as well.
Oh, good.
Not to the the high mark that these guys are doing, but still it's another alternative as opposed to the metal ones. Cool. And I think what people were finding with the metal ones, a lot of people were actually stealing them, and you taking them to scrap metal places and having them, you know, melt it down and turn it in for cash. So that kind of helps.
It's an asset out there. You have to count for.
Yeah, very much so. Well, in this day and age,
they're not stripping the copper pipes from old houses. They're stealing kegs, right?
Yeah,
they're getting electrocuted in the live electric
plant, though. People are still doing that. How's the food? Good?
Oh, it's amazing. So the sweetness with the brunch is just perfect.
Oh yeah, man.
The sweet sauerkraut, the oatmeal.
Yeah, and the Fuji apples really make that pop. So
this Reuben is wonderful.
Yeah, that's probably. I had a group of guys in here about 3 months ago, and they were doing a tour of Atlanta searching for the best Reuben, and we were their second to last stop. And at that point, they said we had hands down the best Reuben that they had encountered. So, you know, our food. Not only are we about beer, beer is such a huge part of it, but you know, I feel oftentimes we actually don't get enough credit for the menu, because the menu, especially the front page, is just really. I mean, you take Nick, who you guys just spoke to, and he essentially comes from a 5-star background. Well, he brings that 5-star background to the table, and you look at the price points. A hanger steak anywhere else in the area, which is prepared that well and that delicious, is usually going to run you double of what we charge.
Exactly, at least $20-something.
Our whole mission statement with opening this place was to bring good beer and bring great food to people.
Well, I love the concept of the freshness of the garden that goes with, you know, the pairing of the food and the beer. I think you're onto a really good niche.
You know, not only are you seeing such a big shift in people's taste in beer, but people are actually becoming more conscious about what they're putting in their body.
Yeah.
So there's such a huge farm-to-table movement going on right now, where people want to know, like, you know, there's a multitude of documentaries out there just basically discussing our food future, and you take something that you would go to your supermarket and you think you're eating well because you're eating vegetables, but what a lot of people don't realize is those vegetables are traveling 6 to 7 days on a truck just to get to you, not to mention who's to tell what type of pesticides they're spraying on those. You know, so it's comforting to know that exactly where your food is coming from, and you really can tell a difference in taste.
Oh, absolutely.
Like it might be a subtle difference, but I mean, you take a tomato that you've purchased at the grocery store compared to a tomato that's grown from one of our local purveyors. You stick them side by side, and you're going to be kicking yourself in the ass that you haven't been doing that longer. And it's a great way to support your local economy as well. So,
now, props to Nick here. We got Sweetwater spent grain bread. There's actually Sweetwater beer.
Yes, indeed. We take the spent grains from their brewing process and just turn it into bread.
Stunning. And Dogfish Head 60-minute IPA, marinating the muscle.
Yep. Some people say our mussels are the best in Atlanta as well, and the broth is, sometimes I can just eat the broth by itself like a soup.
Now, calamari, Robert. Gee, let's do a 1809 Berliner Weiss with that, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Great suggestions. Austin, Justin, thank you so much. And if you could just show the camera your ink, we'll get some pans of the, by all means, step up and give a close-up.
That's Tim Burton, right?
Yeah, this is all Tim Burton.
Nice.
So I'll give a local prop to my artist. His name is Loki, and he's over at Sacred Heart, which is here in Atlanta as well. But it's all Tim Burton.
You can see your readout here. So give him a close-up there and a rotation. Awesome.
So
time for lunch.
Tattoos are fun. You can still get a job.
That's right.
In the right place.
Awkward little fellas, but
wow.
You can just kind of see how it's just basically, you know, all the beer is in there. It's vacuum sealed within this little foil package. The only thing that's really tough is when you're doing inventory and trying to guess the weight on something, you kind of definitely have to just eye the depletion. So, you know, right now I would call this like about half full because it's kind of shrunken down to that point. But that's the only hard thing. And when you have more than 2 of these in one of our keg boxes, it kind of makes it difficult. But This is the future of packaging beer, at least in the European market. Okay, well, we're at the Porter Beer Bar in Atlanta, Georgia, and we're behind the bar. We have 29 draft beers pouring through our draft system at any given time, 2 of which are cask-conditioned beers that we run through the hand engines down at the far end of the bar. For the most part, we keep the tap handles uniform, try not to show much of any preference towards any particular brewery, so we keep them uniform with the exception, of course, of our wonderful unicorn down there. It's a contribution of one of our wonderful patrons. As far as the beers that we normally pour on draft, generally we like to have a nice mix. We want to have stuff that's accessible to your everyday beer drinker, or lighter beers that are close to American light lagers, but really not in that same realm. And also we have more aggressive North American micro beers like Imperial IPAs and the hoppy stuff that's becoming really popular these days. But also we like to appeal to the beer geeks and the people that are really just into beer, and they're coming here to find the stuff they can't find anywhere else. Right now we've got a number of different things. The Belgian stuff is generally what people like that are looking for. We have Rodenbach Grand Cru is probably a good example of that. But we have on draft right now, it's a Flemish sour ale. So it's a sour ale that's aged in oak as well. So it's great for people that actually prefer wine as well. So that's another thing that we pride ourselves in, is just being able to find something that anybody can drink, no matter whether they're a serious beer drinker, a big wine drinker, or don't really drink much at all in the first place. So that's pretty much what we're all about behind the bar here at the Porter.
I'm good. I am a rock hard trooper to the bone, full grown, consider me stone. Once again, and I say it for you to know, the trooper's always ready. I yell Geronimo, you CIA kidding. Both King and X, they got rid of both. Professor Griff, no.